The first night back in London, I didn't call him and I was just missing him so much. And I just called him and I said, look, I think I'm in love with you. And he said, thanks. He said that.
That call, I was a bit like, okay, I don't know how to react to this. I mean, I am with you on the same page, yes, but at that moment I was in total loss of words. I'm like,
Overwhelmed.
There was another time when I was in Italy that I told him, I really like you, like really, really. And he goes, me too, as a friend. No.
okay, I'll say something about myself. I am not a great person when it comes to catching cues.
Welcome to International Love Story, the podcast about intercultural relationships. My name is Christina, and in today's podcast episode, I'm going to welcome Andreana and Gazal. They are living in the United Kingdoms right now, in the UK. I was just about to say United States, but that's true. So they're living in the UK right now. Andreana is originally from Italy. Gazal is from India. Again, reunited, living together. They met on ChatRoulette a couple of years ago. But honestly, this is all I know about them. So the whole conversation will be a surprise for me as well. Let's give a warm welcome. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you. And just to start off, first time ever being in a podcast. I've seen a lot of podcasts, but first time I'm a part of one. We are a part of one. And thank you for the chance.
Yeah, of course. It's just, I mean, I've mentioned it in the little pre-call we had, where I tried not to learn too much about you because it's always a nice surprise to really do an in-depth and to have a real conversation. But I know that everyone who is going to listen to your story will resonate. Obviously, you have this cultural background as well, an Indian dating an Italian. So I guess that came with a lot of cultural clashes as well in a way. So I'm really curious to learn more about you and learn more about your story.
I feel like there is a massive misconception that like cultures are like so different. But one thing that people don't take into consideration, God, I'm jumping already into the politics of it. But one thing that people don't take in consideration is how diverse is also Europe. I mean, you're from Germany, I'm from Italy. We're very different with each other. And funnily enough, I resonate more with Gazal than I do with British people. The way Italians are loud and noisy and we sit all together having dinner, it's more something that I've seen Gazal doing than any English person, British person I've ever met before. So yes, there were some cultural clashes. Obviously, like we're not here to lie, but there were also like a lot of things that made us kind of like realize how similar we were in a way.
Yes, even nothing to add there. Yes, I do
Agree.
I do agree with that, and that's why I married you, because there are a lot of disagreements as well, but there are a lot of agreements.
Yeah, especially I guess in values and like how we see the family, how we see like how can I say like, the household and this type of things. Very, very similar.
So to get back to the beginning a little bit, as mentioned, you're living in the UK, and we're going to talk about that, I guess, as well. Because to me, it sounds like the UK is more like of a bigger culture shock for the both of you, due to them being a little bit more not so bubbly maybe, or not so loud as your families, for example, the way you grew up. But again, let's start from the beginning a little bit. You met on ChatRoulette. You, Gazal, you've mentioned in the little pre-talk that during the pandemic, you were just curious and you were eager to see other faces as well. So how was it the first time you encounter each other?
I'll start a bit before that. I was on YouTube, and a random guy, and he's a big YouTuber right now. He was playing chess with random people on this website called ChatRoulette. Then I came to know that there is this website that connects you with any person possible around the world. I'm like, interesting. I opened that website, and the first few things, I won't even describe what I saw. So let's just
PG 14 with a
PG-21.
21 baby.
Yeah. So I was very disappointed there, but the third person that came was her.
Me on the other hand, I knew of ChatRoulette when I was younger. So it's a website that has been around for like years, and they closed it down because obviously nobody had the time anymore. And then there you go, there is lockdown, and they thought it was a great time to reopen the website. So I went and checked it out after years that I wasn't on it. And then I also seen a lot of PG-21, and not even, to be honest, I don't even think they want to see what I saw, because obviously people were bored, and they have improved the website. I have to say that at the moment. So if you try and lower your camera anywhere that is not your face, they'll block your account. So that has improved on their side. But he's probably one of the second or third people I met after a long time logging into the website, and we had a very long discussion. So one crazy thing about this website, because it was so badly made, it tended to crash. So if you were talking to somebody, you might have been all of a sudden skipped to the next person, and there is no way to go back. There is no way to actually they have created that option now. You can retrace somebody you talked to before, but at the time when they just reopened, it was just like in 2010. So if at any point that conversation crashed, we would have never spoke to each other again. And we had this super long conversation of like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Some crazy thing like that. And it never crashed.
And we were just about to say goodbye, and all of a sudden she says, "Oh, would you mind if we exchange Instagram?" And about also Instagram, I made my Instagram ID like 4 months ago, but before that I wasn't even on Instagram. So I'm like, fine if you want to.
It kind of like the stars was just like alienating to make this happen.
Yeah.
So it was just like, yeah, he has an Instagram now. You can talk to each other, and the chat never crashed. So it was fun.
Yeah. So we shared the Instagram and we just went off that particular website. Then I received a message, I think a day or even, I think literally the next day. I'm like, Andreana, that lady, that lady from the website.
But now the issue was that I've been an influencer for some time. So he's seen this random account with 10,000 followers. I'm reaching out to him and be like, "Hey, how are you?" And he thought I was trying to scam him.
Not scam, like it was
What
more
was it?
like people were trying to gain followers
Oh, that's
on
what I was
Instagram, just to increase their followers by 5 or 6 in 5 or 6 in a week or something like that. I'm like, it's like maybe that thing. I'm like, okay, fine, I'll just let it go. But then she started texting. I'm like, okay, lady's interesting. And then yes, there was a lot of back and forth texts.
I think we spoke every single day from then. Like maybe the first few days was like there was a little break in the middle, and then slowly it kind of increased. Like we were absolutely glued to each other throughout lockdown. Like I think we literally never stopped, except we'll get to that in January when he decided to break up with me. But let's just say from 13th of December to January some point, it was literally every single day. Like every single day we would chat, video call at some point. And it wasn't necessarily romantic at the beginning. It was just, wow, you're so interesting. Like I can't stop listening to your stories and what you got to say.
It's not even, I won't say stories. I'm a very normal person. There's nothing.
I liked it.
there's nothing very exciting. Like you can't make a movie out of my life. It's just a very normal upbringing. The conversations went on from one topic to another, and it just went on and on.
I think one time we spoke on the phone for like 8 hours. I had COVID. I caught COVID, and I was so bored, and we spoke on the phone for like 8 hours. It was before we started watching movies.
Yes.
So we actually were talking for 8 hours.
Yes.
What the heck did we have to say?
I have no idea what we talked.
No, that would have been my question, because apparently during the ChatRoulette call, the 1.5 hours, you connected on a different level. So you were like, okay, let's just exchange Instagram handles.
I think the first thing was the fact that I recognized that you were sick. So Gazal doesn't always wear a turban. Today he's dressed sharp and he put a turban for you. But normally he likes to wear a beanie. It's just easier. Like it's kind of like a cap. But so my family, jumping back into my past, my family has been trading with India for many years. So I'm acquainted a bit with some of the Indians, like Indian culture and religions out there. The moment I saw him, even though he was wearing a cap, I'm like, "Are you sick by any chance?" Because like your beard, the way you're portraying yourself like that, that's what it is. And he was in absolute shock.
Yeah, there was a reason for that because I think in one of the calls that I had before her, I went through a racial comment. I'm like, I am not exactly who you think you are, who you think I am, but okay, I'll let it go there. So then she comes and she's like, "Are you sick?" I'm like, "I'm impressed, you know."
Up until today, not many people realize what he is. Like there is a bit of not knowledge of what Sikhism is, and I think maybe when you're a bit closer to the Indian cultures, like and diversity, maybe you know that there is this like that he gets compared a lot to Muslims, which is nothing bad and nobody is offended, but it's not the same religion. And I think the conversation started from that to the point that my sister came into the room at some point and she's like, "Oh, how long is your hair?" So he takes off the beanie and he's showing like how long is his hair, like to my sister. So this is how long the conversation was. Other people were even involved.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it went on from movies, from discussing our own countries, even how India is, how Italy is. Then I don't know, even about something like feminism. Feminism was
What are you
also.
talking about?
I think we did talk
Don't
about
know.
feminism as well. I'm just trying to
let's just say we have an absolute blank space on what we were talking about. We just know it made us connect to the point that we were like, right, I want to talk to you again.
And you did, I mean, Andreana, you were mentioning that you did talk every day until you did not anymore. What happened there in January, may I ask?
He would have taken the lead.
Okay, I'll take a lead here.
I don't know what happened. He broke up with me.
There's a friend of mine, I won't take his name. So he made a very valid point. He was like, "Listen, this lady is in UK, in London. You are planning to go to Canada in a few months, okay? And like there is nothing overlapping here." And he goes, what are you doing? Like, what is the end goal here? And I had no answer to that question. And I was like, maybe he's right. I might be wasting my time and her time. So it's better if it's ended at a lighter note rather than ending it at a very heavy note when things have gotten involved and everything. So I decided, we can chat, but let's not take it any further to a certain level. So this is where my mind went, and she went bonkers. They're like, "Excuse me."
I just say to him like that I couldn't be his friend because I already had developed some type of feelings and he did too. For some reason I was like, this is so weird from an Indian person, like being so detached from their feelings. Like usually I know Indian people to be way more like passionate than that. And I just told him, well, I can't talk to you anymore then. I can't be your friend. Like, and we went on for 5 days. There was a 5-day strike where I was crying every single day with my friends. I'm on the phone with them. I'm like, I don't know what to do, but I can't talk to him that way. And yeah, there was a cold that happened at some point, and I'm still crying. And he's like, "Oh my god, I made you cry." Like, oh, what did you think you were doing? And yeah, I don't know what we say. Again, blank on that call. I have no idea what we say to each other than he was in shock that I was sad about it. We kind of decided to like rekindle. Is that the right word? Yes. Rekindle. And we started talking again, basically forgot about this break.
And in the background, why I was also getting a bit anxious was so due to pandemic, my plans for Canada were getting pushed further and further. Even that was another factor of stress for me, and like a lot of things were going on in my life as well. So I was thinking, if once I go there, I'll start my own life. Like I was going as a student and I had to take care of my expenses, my studies. I'm like where would this go? So yes, so that was the reason why.
We're talking about a second breakup. Huh? He left me twice.
Very patient.
I am. I do know. I am. So he actually was really cute. In one of our weddings, he did a little speech and he said, I'm thankful because you made this happen. Like it was you that continued. So yeah, like we're not gonna get too much into it because it's pretty much the same story. But the second breakup was pretty much the same thing. He just moved to Canada and he was like, I don't know how we're gonna do this. And oh yeah, I was kind of pushing him to stop to London. So okay, step back. Second breakup was because he moved to Canada. It was actually in the process of moving to Canada. So it
I
was
moved
gonna
to Canada already.
no, when I say come to London and you didn't stop.
It was September.
Oh, you were already. So
Okay, let me.
I tried to convince him to come to London and I was gonna be so crazy. So he was stopping in Frankfurt for like 20, no, not 20 hours,
Okay,
sorry,
1 second.
12 hours or
1 second.
something.
Let me structure it. Okay. In July of 2021, I finally took my flight after way too many struggles to Canada. Let me tell you that that flight wasn't the best flight ever. So I first took a flight from Delhi to Oman to Frankfurt, and then to Toronto. That
There
whole
were like
journey,
straight flights
there
because of
weren't straight flights due to pandemic reasons, and one hell of an expensive flight took me 1.5 days to reach Canada. Fine. She wanted to meet me in Frankfurt in transit, which is impossible. And you from Germany, you know Frankfurt Airport. They gave me 3 hours of waiting period in which I had to reach my terminal. I made it by 20 minutes, barely. So I'm like, we can't possibly meet there. And when I reached in Canada, in a month, it was crystal clear to me that my few years from now would be full of struggles. Okay, and I just had no idea how this lady in UK would be like how are we maintaining this?
I was pushing him a bit. I was saying, well, now you're in Canada. Just come to London, no? Like it's like a 8 hours
I
flight.
had no.
Looking back, you were right. It was too complicated. I didn't know about visa processes. I mean, for us Europeans, I don't even need my passport to go to Germany or to go to Italy. I just go with my ID. So yes, I knew he needed a visa, but I've only learned afterwards how hard it is to gain one and how many papers you need to give them. And we even had to do something like proof of relationship. And I'm thinking, what exactly do you want to see from you want me to kiss him? Like, what kind of videos you want as a proof? So yeah, looking back, you were right. And that's yes. But yeah, he once again went on with he started this call by saying like, look, I just want to be honest with you. And I'm like, oh no, he's going again. I'm like, let me stop you right there. I'm booking my flight to Canada in a couple of weeks and I'm coming to see you as soon as I can.
But he was about to break up again. So, or did he break up? Because you've mentioned that there was a second break. And that was
Yeah.
the second break.
It wasn't really a breakup. Like he tried. He started the conversation and he was like, I don't think this can happen. Yada yada. And I was crying. I'm like, why are you saying that? So it was a bit longer than that. But yeah, like
Yeah, then she goes like, okay, if you can't come, I'll come. Then there was a second struggle with me. I was living with five other guys at that point. I had my own room and everything was fine. Like, you know how student life is. Those other five guys weren't the best people in the world. So
they were students. They were chilling and enjoying life. So like no, this is a second struggle. Like first thing was I told them I hang up this breakup call by saying I'm coming. Like I don't want to hear you blabbering one more time about this breakup. I'm just coming to see you. So it's like yeah, then that was like the struggles of Canada and reason why we had to get a hotel for a couple of days.
So yes, so the struggle was I had a single bed first of all. Okay. Second, the people I was staying with. Now, in my humble opinion, as a guy, fine, I can handle them. Okay, I can go into my room, lock myself. I won't invite a woman there personally. So I was a bit ashamed as well. I'm like, if you come, I literally don't have a space space for you. So I'm like, okay, you want to come, you want to take care of all the expenses, but where are we staying? So she goes, it's fine. For first, I think 2 nights.
We're gonna stay in central Toronto.
We went to it was her first time in Canada. She wanted to see a bit of Toronto, and we went like, okay, fine, 2 days, let's get a hotel, very expensive hotel, because it was in the center of Toronto. But that's all we could kind of what's the word, afford. In the end, we had to actually go back to that house. No problems with the house. There's just the people. But she was like, fine, as long as you are there.
I'm Italian. I just started cleaning. Toilet might be dirty. I bought bleach. It's fine. Like
I was ashamed, shocked, flabbergasted. You just take whatever adjective you want to put there. Like, this lady came to meet me for the first time, and she's cleaning our house.
This is what I wanted to ask. I mean, that was the first time you've met, and Andreana, she was just like, I mean, it sounds like you knew what you want, and you're just like, nope, not an excuse. Nope, I can clean that. It's okay. I've never met you, but I'm gonna clean your apartment. I cleaned the toilet. I don't know those people.
More than his apartment is like where I'm gonna stay for the next day. So then, if they want to leave in disgusting place, that's up to them throughout the next month. But as long as I'm here, there will be bleach next to the toilet, and I won't use it.
Let me tell you the level of like disgust I had for myself.
It wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad.
It was.
It wasn't that bad.
It was bad. She cleaned the whole kitchen. She cleaned even the bathroom. Like, at least tell me what to do. I'll do it. No, she's like, no, I'll do it. And
my mom always says you do it best yourself. So, but no, I've always been very tenacious, like generally in life, and I was for some reason so sure of him that I had to go through with this, especially because at that time I stopped seeing any other guy. I couldn't go on another date. I couldn't talk to someone else because he was on my mind. Plus, he was on my phone for all the hours that we had in common. We would be on each other's phone. So my idea was, let's at least see whatever we think is going on here, it's happening in real life, and then we'll think about the problems, because problems can be solved. But I mean, definitely what helped us, this is for the couples that might be listening, was 100% that he went to Canada. Obviously, as a woman, I felt nothing wrong with India, but I felt much more safe to go to Canada by myself. That to a place where I've never even been before. And I know that there is some sort of cultural differences in maybe like the way we dress, the way we walk, sleeping in the same hotel room even might be an issue. So I felt like Canada definitely was of help. And then I had a job, although it wasn't like a highly paying job, but it was good enough for me to save some money. He was breaking his back at a night job, at a night shift job. So having some sort of cash flow in the couple, it helped. So some of the couples that have reached out on our Instagram were telling me like, oh, but I don't have a job. And I mean, that's one of the main reasons why we were able to afford to see each other. We kept going for like 2.5 years, and every time we wanted to see each other, it was a minimum of £300, so like 400 euros.
No, it's not even about money. Just whenever there is distance and whenever you're trying to do something together, like physically meeting, I think it helps to contribute equally.
I definitely wasn't expecting him to do everything by himself or pay my trip. So a lot of people that I spoke to were like, well, if he's not paying your trip, then you shouldn't be going. And
no, this is not how it works.
He's a student. Like, I'm not insane, and I actually want to meet him.
Totally agree with you, but again, if you contribute, it kind of solidifies your intentions with the person.
100%.
Yes. If you just like, okay, come here, fine. Or if you're paying, fine. Okay, then you can come. Otherwise, I can do anything. So for the first flight, let me go back. First flight that she took and the hotel, I tried to contribute as much as I can. I'm like, okay. I still felt it wasn't feasible, but I'm like, if you're that tenacious and you really want to come, let me contribute in there, because
I presented you with the ticket, so you couldn't do anything else. It was done.
Yeah. So I'm like, you're coming, so at least let me contribute a bit, because it's because of me that you're coming.
And like even like meeting, it wasn't like so frequent. It was like once every 4 months. One time we had to wait 6 months because we were both busy with our lives.
But
So
may I ask, like, I still don't, like, I'm trying to put a pinpoint on where you officially started dating, because what I've heard throughout your story, Andreana, as I've mentioned, you were the pushy one, and Gazal was just like, hey, I'm moving to Canada. I have to sort out my life. I'm going to be a student. There are a lot of things going on, long distance relationship. I don't want to put too much pressure on you, Andreana. So it's a financial thing as well. I mean, for you, Andreana, it was very clear that you really like this person and you wanted to know where it's going. Gazal, you also really liked her, but you had some doubts in a way that you were trying to protect her. This is what I understand from this conversation. So I'm trying, because I feel like you have a different understanding about the point where your relationship officially started. So I feel like for Andreana, it was a little bit earlier.
we do have kind of a date. There was a point where, so we met that I was in Italy. When I came back to London, I told them, like, life is a bit more busy in London. So I went to see my family during lockdown, not just because I was really bored by myself. And that's when he called me that I was in Italy. And when I came back, I told him, like, life is going to be a bit hard. Maybe we're not going to talk again anymore. The first night back in London, I didn't call him, and I was just missing him so much. And I just called him and I said, look, I think I'm in love with you. And he said, thanks. He said that.
That call, I was a bit like, okay, I don't know how to react to this. I mean, I am with you on the same page, yes, but at that moment I was in total loss of words. I'm like,
Overwhelmed.
There was another time when I was in Italy that I told him, I really like you, like really, really. And he goes, me too, as a friend. No.
Okay. I'll say something about myself. I am not a great person when it comes to catching cues.
Clearly.
I don't
Not even if they're presented on the silver plate.
like literally you if what you want to say are not, it's not stated in clear words in a sentence, spoken out in a language that I understand, I won't be able to understand. Okay, she's saying this, but she actually means that. I'd say that's a very big.
That's why then the second call, and the date was 28th of December. I'll never forget. That day I told him, like, look, I think I'm falling in love with you and I need to pursue this. So I was honest with him that I wasn't going to see anyone else because my mind was just on him all the time. It was by then probably like 3-4 weeks that we were talking like continuously. So yeah.
And it started from there, and then again, whatever we just told you, that I kind of wasn't sure where this thing was going. Then again, the second time when I was literally in Canada and saw what life is right now, and yeah, so it started back in, I think, 2020.
Mhm.
Yeah, 3-4 weeks. At least we made our feelings clear to each other, that okay, we like each other, but don't know how it'll go.
Yeah.
So feelings were there.
No, we'll come to the hot topic, which is when he became tenacious. Because obviously I was the one driving it until I got to Canada. And then obviously, like, Canada was perfect. We spent 10 days together and we were like, well, we love each other, clearly. I went back home crying. I cried a lot in this relationship. This guy made me cry a lot. And I was crying because I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna have the money to see him again. I don't know what's gonna happen from here. But at least I saw him, and at least I know that this has happened. And then we got to see each other again. We can get into that if you want to, but he did show me that he was tenacious and that he cared for me, not only by helping me financing the next trips, but then we got to his family. So that was our next issue. Which, to be fair, with the couples that I heard, wasn't even
give the background.
Yeah.
So in my family, as you might have heard in Indian culture, there's this arranged marriage thing. So in my family, my marriage is the first one, which is a love marriage.
Not just
Okay.
love marriage, it's also like other cultural marriage.
Yes.
Other
So-
cultural marriage.
So there is not much of a mix. There is not much of. It was never like, okay, my dad went to my grandfather. Oh, this is the girl I like. I want to marry her. No, it was an arranged marriage. My my parents were fine with that. I'm like, okay, you found a girl, no problem. Saved us a headache. Thank you so much.
But
Yeah. Then I told them she's Italian, and they were like, I'm sorry, what? And
she's not sick. She's Italian.
yeah,
She's on the other side. Did you tell them that I wasn't in Canada? Yeah, they knew I wasn't in Canada.
Yeah.
They knew I was in UK.
yeah.
So
So yes, this
basically bombarded them on a Sunday morning. And even that was a bit me pushing him. So we started seeing each other a bit more regularly. Like I told you, it was like every 4 months, every 6 months. And after our second meeting, I was like, I think it's time that you tell your parents.
all
And
this time, my parents had no idea that I was seeing someone, because again, I was a bit worried about what kind of reaction I would get, and
It's also, sorry for interrupting, which is also, and I think that's a very important note here, very normal in the Indian culture,
Yes.
that if you are in a love marriage or love relationship and it's not an arranged marriage, that you should wait a little bit until you include your
yeah,
family.
they were kind of like let's see, like, yeah, maybe it's a phase, like, why don't you end it, like,
Yes.
and little did they know that we were like going into 1 full year of dating.
Oh,
love marriage wasn't the issue. The
Mhm.
issue was her being Italian, her being literally like, there is no, at least at that
Do you think they would have been okay if she was like Indian, yes, but like not sick?
they were fine.
I don't know.
They were fine.
Oh yeah, okay.
As long as the lady was Indian, they were okay. Like, they were like fine. They were open-minded at least that
In
much.
certain things, I do understand my mother-in-law and her concerns. Some of them were obviously misconceptions that like Europeans don't know how to take care of a family. We don't care about family as much as Indians. We don't respect our parents the same way. Little did they know of how many times I've been beaten up by my mom. With a very hard shoe that we have in Italy called zoccolo. Very, very painful. It's made of wood. And I think it comes from Germany or Austria, one of the two. Very great gift from the northern of Europe to the southern Italian kids. And yeah, but like some of her concerns were realistic to me, and I resonated with her, and I made sure kind of to give her that comfort that I was gonna take care of it and I was gonna stand up to the standards. So one, and I think biggest issue, was that asking Gazal maybe to cut his hair or remove his turban, which you can confirm in a second, but it's something that Sikh guys do, especially when they move abroad. It's just easier. It's easy. Let's just kind of say easier. But I believe in human rights. If he wants to keep his long hair and he has a belief that he needs to do that, I'm just gonna support him as much as I can.
So yeah, people just to fit in, because again, I can see my look, it might be a bit unconventional for other people, and they are like, okay, that is. And there have been some racial comments here or there, even in Canada, even here sometimes. Like, not everyone, 2% of people are like, I think you should go back to your country. Like,
yeah, it's
kind of
this. Yeah, it's
Yes.
the stereotyping. We've experienced that in Germany as well. It's just like, in our case, a little mini percentage. I mean, and in our relationship, it's just not a big part, but I've been talking to couples where racism, unfortunately, is a big part of their relationship. But that's a different topic. That's,
Yes.
I don't know, we can do a deep dive on that. That's another podcast episode.
Yes.
What I'm wondering, Gazal, so you had the conversation with your parents, letting them know, yeah, I met this girl, and they were like, oh, great, so you save us a headache there and you saved us some time, and then you were like, okay, but she's Italian. I feel like I would like to do a little deep dive on how they reacted exactly and how the conversation went.
It was pretty funny. It was funny.
How my family dynamic works, and my mom will highly disagree with that, but my mom is the one who controls everything. This is my belief. Okay. She is the ultimate boss. Okay. She says my father is, but she is the ultimate boss, and she is the one who's more firm She's loving. She's loving. Don't get me wrong. There, she has. I have no traumatic experiences in my life, but she's a bit firm. She's a bit strict. So rather than going to her, I went to my father first. I found someone. She's a very lovely lady. Just the Italian bit I kept for the very end, so that I give them all the description first. She's very nice. She's very lovely. She cooks very nice. Okay, and then she's like, okay, no problem, no problem. Then I went. She's Italian. When my dad goes,
I think at first he was okay.
he was okay. He was
Yeah,
okay.
he was fine.
He was actually
Happy.
coming out of his workout, and he was actually going towards our house, and he was like, okay, we'll have a discussion. And that wasn't even close to a reaction I was expecting. So like, very very chill. He goes home, had some conversation with my mom, which I have no idea what conversation that was. Then my mom calls, and the boss, she bombarded.
She was fuming.
She was fuming. Gazal. Okay, so in India we have this. We have a name for the house, and then Gazal is my official name. So she calls me Vishu at home. She's like, Vishu, what are you doing? Come on, how are you going to sustain this? She won't understand us. And kept on going. I'm like,
I think your father was calling you afterwards, and he was like, Vishu, it's time to end this. End it now so that it doesn't hurt.
my mom also influenced my dad. He also kind of teamed up with her. So I'm like, he went, son, maybe it's not a very good idea. Maybe I am with your mommy. I'm like, Dad, you were just 20 minutes ago you were with me, but okay, fine.
And in all of this, we had a commentary from my sister-in-law. So she was the only one of the family that knew about us.
Yes.
He introduced her to me right before he went to Canada, and she was sending us WhatsApp messages with what was happening. Like, Mom is on the bed now, and she doesn't want to talk to you anymore. But I have to say one thing, just as an external person, his main concern was that some Indian families are a bit more firm than his parents. So the conversation would have gone a bit more dark, like it's either her or us. And that's what Gazal was fearing before telling them. Whereas with his mom, I knew how much she loved them, because she just had a little mental breakdown and she went to bed. But she was still talking to him, and there was nowhere mentioned you have to choose. Like, we don't want you as our son because you dare to look outside and meet someone. That there was never that fear that he was having. Like, it never actually realized.
It never came to that. So
Yeah.
basically, and this progressed over months. Basically, what my mom came to in the end, the conclusion was that, okay, you want to marry her, fine, but it will be your decision. So any consequences after this would be on you.
Hold on. There was first, though, a rishta. There was a potential marriage proposal from someone else that they offered you right before this.
Okay. In between this, as I was saying, as I was explaining the concept of arranged marriage, they actually did they actually had a conversation with someone who knew someone, and they had a girl there, whatever her name was, I don't even remember as of. So she goes like, would you like to talk to her? I'm like, why would I talk to someone? I told you there's a lady I love already, and my intentions are very clear with her. So, and she stopped. I think on that day she stopped. She's like,
Yeah.
fine.
Then there was the conversation. Everything else is
Then
going to be
another cutting the whole procedure short. Then there was a conversation that, fine, you want to go through with it, but please be mindful that any consequences, anything bad happens after this would be for you to bear, basically. And I'm like, fine, I'll just go with it and let's see what happens. I don't know what would happen in 10 years. I don't know what consequences would be. I'll just go with it.
But Gazal, may I ask, like, you have one sister? Do you have brothers as well?
I just have one sister.
I'm just wondering, in terms of arranged marriage, in your family, like, is there a difference if your sister would have chosen love marriage, for example?
Yeah, not really as of now. I'll say one more thing, actually. I think I kind of underestimated my own parents in a way. I thought that they were more close-minded
that they actually are.
Than they are. There are some differences between how I think and how they think, but they are not actually close-minded that way. That during this whole course of events, I found out. I used to think that they were.
He was genuinely scared that they were gonna what's the word, repudiate, like they were never gonna talk to him again, that they were gonna tell him you need to choose her or us, and that's it. I think they're open-minded to the point of marrying someone from India. Like a lot of the things. So once again, my sister-in-law, we're very good friends, and she was sending me this kind of like commentary of what was happening at the house. And the main worry of my mother-in-law again was the religion issue, was the fact that she heard of European girls going and marrying and then stealing all the jewels from the family home and disappearing. And I was like, I have no intention of doing any of that. What I did in the background to support him, because he was being tenacious. Like I knew that he was putting like dots where they were supposed to be with his parents, and I was in shock because he's a very mild guy. Like you wouldn't see Gazal angry. I managed to make him angry, but you rarely would see him angry. And I've seen him angry with his parents. Like, do not say that. Like, that's not okay for you to say. So on my side, I wanted to support by making sure that they could get to know me. And once they would have known me, then they would have seen that the differences were not as massive as they thought. Because yes, we're like 5,000 kilometers apart, but we bleed the same blood at the end of the day. We were having the same type of struggle within the family. And his grandma sadly passed away. And I decided to reach out to his mom, and I sent her a little gift that when my grandma passed away, I would have probably appreciated having. It was a little keychain with a drawing of them rather than a picture.
With my grandma and
Yeah, well, my grandma, his grandma, her, and the sister. Just a picture. I made it into a drawing and sent it to her. And I think at that point, I have a feeling that was the day that she kind of snapped back and she was like, hold on, I'm making a mistake. Like there is something here that I'm not seeing. And I feel like whenever we communicate now, which I'm gonna say once again for the people that want to resonate with this story, it wasn't jevelated by the fact that my mother-in-law has a degree. She speaks English. Yes, she's not fluent, but neither I am in Punjabi, and we can understand each other much more clear than somebody who doesn't speak a word of English and somebody who doesn't even try to learn Punjabi. So it's a bit, we're coming to each other that way. So being able to talk to each other, it made it very much more easy. And I could understand what she was saying when she's crying because she opened this gift and she say, I've gained a daughter now. We weren't married yet. So I felt it. I'm like, yes, that's the moment. Like I got her. She's seeing what I'm seeing here. Because
coming back to your question though about my sister, I think again now they will be even more open-minded, even if she brings in someone from a different culture. But to even start with, they were open-minded enough about love marriages and that kind of stuff, because when they were getting married, unfortunately, their opinion didn't matter, and it was in the 80s, back in the 80s. So it's been a while. Arranged marriages still happen in India, but it's more like a dating system where your dating platform is nothing but your parents. They bring you together.
I think it's so much better.
Yeah.
I wish I had that option.
Modern arranged marriages are okay. There are two families. There's a boy and a girl. Boy and the girl can go on dates, decide if they like each other. If they do like each other, they give yourself 6 months, one year, see where it goes, and if it doesn't go anywhere, you can go your own ways. It's just that the platform is our parents on both ends.
And they do the background checks for you. Like, I'll take that. Thanks.
I've heard about that. I've had 2 or 3 podcast episodes that were about arranged marriage. And in one of them, the couple was asking me if I would know Indian Matchmaker, a Netflix series. And I was like, yeah, it's pretty much like this. So they do a whole background check on financial status, on the profession, making sure it's matching on all levels. And then they would introduce each other, see if it's matching on a personal level as well. And I find it very interesting. And I mean, if you are not, like, you hear the word or the words arranged marriage and you're just like, oh my God, that sounds horrible. But then if you actually do a deep dive and you ask people who are in arranged marriage, like the way you've just explained, Gazal, where the family would be involved, but they give you the freedom to still choose, and you don't have to do this. It's a different angle because they make sure beforehand that you match on all levels. And obviously they know you very well, so they know what would fit to you. Like, it's a different dynamic. And I think we have to be a little bit open-minded that this is not as we grew up or what we used to or how our parents got to know each other, but this is actually also working. And out of that relationship, love can grow as well.
Really, the marriages, they all were arranged, and then throughout the years they were a bit more open-minded to his aunt, who actually fell in love with the guy before they even got married, Chatumasi. So his youngest aunt, she's like 40 years old, so she's fairly young, and they fell in love before they even made it to the altar. So the open-mindedness then spreading to his family, and they're solid as couples, all of them. And I don't think it's just down to religion, because you can divorce in India. And to be fair, I think there is the same amount of stigma and stereotype in both India and Italy. If you divorce, you will be known as the person who has divorced. But you live with it. If that's the right choice for you, you gotta do it. Once again, something that we found it was pretty similar.
My whole family was shockingly open-minded in the end, which I never expected, and I'm very, very I appreciate that from my family. Her family, all okay, no problem at all. Up until the guy is nice.
My parents knew I wasn't gonna marry an Italian guy.
Okay.
Yeah, I've always been. I left my country when I was 19, because I didn't want to live in Italy, and I didn't like Italian people, and I didn't want to be there anymore. Literally, I'm way more patriotic now. Yeah, like I think they secretly knew that it wasn't gonna be an Italian guy, and never brought home an Italian guy other than when I was 14. That was the only time I had an Italian boyfriend. Maybe their connection with India, they were really kind of happy to see like Gazal, but they were worried on their side that he wasn't going to be serious, he wasn't going to be able to tell his parents. And my mom even got so far, like she was resonating with him, and she was saying, you can't push him to tell his parents, and you can't push him to make certain decisions, because what is he going to do without his family? You can't force him to do that. So if it comes to that, you're gonna have to let him go. So my parents were really understanding that way, and they do love him like a son.
Especially, I mean, if you don't have an example in your family, Gazal, of love, marriage, and another culture involved, you know. So I understand your fear that worst case they will turn your backs and make you decide it's either your girlfriend at that point or it's your family. And I understand, Andreana, that you were preparing for that as well, because you knew that's an option throughout many conversations you had, sharing thoughts, sharing fears. So it sounds like those few weeks or even months until you got the final approval and they were like, okay, we are fine with that, were very, very stressful. How did you experience the time between, okay, Gazal told his father, and then the boss was involved and called? I was just like, that's a no-go. And then they tried to match you to another girl, Gazal, and it just didn't work out, or you just didn't like, and you were just like, okay, no, I'm not gonna meet her. I have this girlfriend sitting in the UK, and then your mom stopped pushing you, but she was still obsessed. And then you, Andreana, I mean, there were a lot of things happening, gifting them this keychain with the picture, and this is when she realized, okay, that's my daughter now. I'm accepting her and I want to get to know her. How did it feel for you? Because that sounds like a roller coaster ride of a lot of emotions.
I think it was, I don't want to say it was making me angry. It's just, I could feel the misconceptions. And we have plenty in Italy as well. And to be fair, I was just lucky with my mom and dad being so open-minded and teaching me to learn a culture rather than judging it. But I was just getting angry on how they wouldn't want to talk to me. And I kept on telling him, let's have a conversation with them. They need to know me. They need to see that we're not that different. Because mainly it was just really upsetting seeing like how the misconception were stopping them from seeing what was right in front of them. So and experiencing it with us, because we were as shocked that India and Italy were like so similar in certain aspects. Whenever we talk about, I'll give you an example, the Sunday at the grandma's house, we have the same stories. We have literally the same stories. And lastly, this will transfer to our kids. I know that we both want to take this into our life in the future. And when we're going to have kids, that will have to be a thing somehow, because we're in London and our families are in Italy and India. But the Sunday at the grandma's house, that's a thing. And it's important for every kid to experience. And they just couldn't see that. And it was so upsetting. And something we haven't mentioned was, yes, his mom said yes, but in India, you're not marrying just in the nuclear family, you're marrying the wider family. So then once the big boss was convinced, we had his aunts getting angry. And it got me, once again, the feeling was anger, because I was just thinking to myself, talk to me. If she has accepted me, maybe she's not insane. Maybe she knows. And I have to say, his aunts are amazing. I love spending time with his family. And they lastly kind of apologized, and they said, now that we know you,
They
we were
apologized
wrong.
at the wedding. And I don't know if I mentioned it to you because she was in the room. They came to me, my aunts, and they were like, "Okay, Gazal, I think we misjudged her, and we are very sorry for that." And then they were kind of in a positive way reinforcing me that in the wedding there would be other people as well might be judging you for marrying into a different culture. Just tell them to get the hell out of there. They were actually also suggesting some other words, but I won't say that those over here. And they were like, if anything happens, just call us. We'll handle it. You enjoy your day.
Yeah.
So again, the way my family by the end of it came together, and they were like, okay, we are with you. We'll protect you wherever it needs protecting from some of the relatives, which are relatives, but they're not the best people. Every family has one of those, one or two of those.
There were some judgments from even further family.
Yeah.
So and that's probably a cultural clash, because if anybody in my family said, oh, why is she marrying an Indian man with a turban, my mom and dad would have flipped the bird and send them to hell. Like, that's none of your business. If we have accepted him, that's good enough. What your aunt is thinking, the sister of your mom, what is she thinking about it? And then there were the brother of his grandpa who had something to say about it. So it was spreading
I think
kind of.
at the end, my family made a statement by inviting all of them that we are doing this. We don't care. Come here, eat, and go home.
And I think what was crazy is at the end was his mom was protecting me and shielding me from other people trying to say something bad about me. So whenever somebody tried to say, oh, why is he marrying a European woman? He does it. How did you bring up this man? She was saying, you don't know her, so you're not going to tell me like about it until you have met her. And it was insane. Like, me being me and all the things that I've seen in the previous years, seeing her shielding me like that and like going to war for me, I was in shock. I was like, wow.
Yeah, you totally pulled her on your side 100,000%, and she's like, I'm gonna protect this girl. She's my daughter. She's
Loving. She
Yeah,
does love me now.
it's very interesting how, like, my head is like, I have so many questions because I'm still trying to kind of fit everything in a timeline, because it sounds like everything happened so fast in a way, and between you getting accepted and then actually the marriage in India was first, because
I think let's put it in a proper timeline.
We met again in March 2022, and I told them, if you don't tell your parents now, I am out this time. I'm gone. So he man up and he's like, yes, I'm gonna do this. So in March this happened, and then by July we were talking about potential marriage, because it was kind of a bit quicker compared to other people. Number one, we wanted to speed it up a bit because we wanted to live in the same country. And second, the way he offered me to his parents was, I'm marrying this girl. So they thought, oh, okay, like that's it. They're getting married. So it went kind of like the Indian standard quick. We got married like not long after that. So July 2022, we had the first conversation about marriage with all the family. Everybody was there. His mom, his father, his sister, my mom, my dad, my sister, and us on the polar opposite of the world. We found the time
on a Zoom call.
on a Zoom call. 2022 was this. July 2023 was our second marriage. So the one in Italy.
In Italy.
Okay.
So do I understand correctly, before getting to know each other, like the first time you saw each other on ChatRoulette?
We met on ChatRoulette in 2020, met for the first time in person November 2021, and then a bunch of times in the middle from that. First conversation about marriage July 2022, and then we started the visa process around October.
At that point, I decided no point of me staying in Canada, and maybe I should start planning to move to UK. And again, my parents were totally fine with that. Fine, you want to move
Surprisingly,
to UK?
I would have been more mad at that. They spent so much money to send him to Canada, and I went. It was way too cold for an Italian person to survive there, let alone an Indian person. Minus 28, that's insane. And it just felt like too far from all our families. Like over here in the UK, in a couple of hours, I'm off to Italy. My mom is coming tonight because I needed some help with clearing the house. We just moved in this small apartment, so I like this and I wanted to keep this. By moving to Canada, we would have isolated completely each other from both of our families, and we would have made it so financially hard to even go back home to either one of our homes. So yeah, there were conversations obviously about that, but we decided lastly that UK was gonna make more sense. Yeah.
Bet.
And if I were his parents, I would have been fuming with all the money that they spent to send him to Canada. Now you're moving to UK? Like, what? I would have been mad at that.
Well, at that point, we were talking about marriage and stuff.
Yeah.
And they were like,
I
fine.
think they gave up. They were like, do whatever. We're done. Yeah.
Can we talk about marriage as well, about your weddings?
Yeah.
I'm very curious. So which wedding was first? How was it? I understand that you also brought your families together, and I just love talking about marriages and weddings and stuff because it's always interesting
Is that
to hear. Yeah, to hear, but also to hear like the encounter of the families, how it felt like, the cultural differences. I saw the beautiful pictures you posted, Andreana, on Instagram, and I feel like you're very much involved in the Indian culture and the Indian way of being as well, and it's just like so cool to see that you're integrating and it just becomes one in a very cool way, and I would just love to learn more about how it got so far.
Firstly, weddings were supposed to be two, which I know it sounds like a lot, but I have a bunch of old people that couldn't have possibly traveled to India, and he has a very large family that couldn't have possibly traveled to Italy. So initially, the weddings were supposed to be two, where a couple of people from his family and a couple of people from my family would have crossed over to come. Now, this is where it gets sad. The Italian government, it's one of the most hardest and complicated and full of bureaucracy governments out there. Understandably, but to a certain level. So Gazal, unfortunately, was not granted a visa to go to Italy, and also wasn't his family, which is the reason why if you see any of our Italian wedding videos, his family was not present because they didn't give them a visa. So in order to get him a visa, we were advised to get married in the UK as soon as possible and just basically get the marriage registered in Italy. That way we had some sort of proof that he wasn't going to go to Italy to stay, because that's the main problem of Italy, making sure that he's not going to stay, which... yeah. So we got married fairly quickly in the UK, but at the same time, me being a mama's girl and papa's girl, I've kind of realized that might have been my only chance to have my mom and dad at my European wedding. So we agreed that I was going to pay for most of the things at that wedding. It wasn't a big wedding. It was fairly small. And we booked a town hall with a bunch of people. And then we went to this beautiful Italian restaurant in London. I kind of had a little Italian English wedding that way. So it was nice because my sister got to be my witness. His best friend, who was already in London by then, got to be his witness. And then his family and some of our friends who couldn't make it to the wedding were on a Zoom call. So Zoom, like, shout out to Zoom. They were like what made these weddings happen. But yeah, so his family was participating on a Zoom call. So that was wedding one. Managed to get our wedding certificate from Italy, and we literally ran to the embassy. I decided to go in with him, and I literally spoke to the person in Italian. I'm like, I need this to happen. So managed to get him a visa, and luckily all my guests kept their tickets, because this was another thing. It was a financial strain on all the people, because they bought the tickets to come, but then we kept on telling them we're not sure this wedding is gonna happen in Italy. Long story short, managed to get the visa, and the wedding happened, and then yeah, it was just absolutely beautiful. It was the most wonderful wedding I could have ever asked for. We got married in an old Italian abbey. Is it called abbey? Like a little monastery, whatever that is called. Yeah, so it was absolutely insanely beautiful, and everybody was kind of like living and sleeping together in that place. So we had a dinner the first night, and then the ceremony the next day, which was officiated by my uncles. Because it was a dummy ceremony. We were already married by then. And I think between the three weddings, it was the one that, at least for me, holds more feelings, because it was like literally my little girl's dream, and we exchanged vows, and we danced on Italian music, and then I surprised him with a Bollywood dance. So me and my bridesmaids had secretly been practicing Bole Churian, which is a very famous Indian Bollywood dance. It means the bracelets are singing, and they're saying that I belong to you. And I really liked it as a song, because when you marry in Punjabi tradition and Sikh tradition, you need to wear some bracelets, red bracelets, for some time, that basically state that I just married this guy, and everybody knew that I was a newly bride. So yeah, Italy was absolutely beautiful. The only downside, yes, was the fact that his family was not present. Internet connection was terrible, so we couldn't even have them on a Zoom call. But yeah, it was definitely beautiful, and we cried a lot. It was the last time I cried in this relationship this much. He was crying. He said he wasn't gonna cry.
Yeah, I don't cry that easy.
I have a video up on my page. We were crying. I found it.
Yeah, that day I did a bit as.
And then you had the wedding in India as well. Gazal, was that where you had the speech and where you mentioned that you're happy that Andreana was so pushy and knew what she wanted? That was in India.
When the DJ said, "Oh, can you tell something to each other?" And I spoke in Punjabi for the first time in front of the whole family. I said like a little thing to him in Punjabi, and everybody was, "Oh my god!"
Yeah, so yes, there I was like, thank you for being so pushy. I would have given up like 3 years ago.
Thanks.
I mean, in a good way, of course. I'm kind of blaming myself why I was doing things the way I was doing things all those years.
It's okay. I love you even if you're like this.
So yes,
I think India was a bit more just crazy and insane. Probably the cultural clash was that. Like how different it was, the whole wedding idea. So, you know, in Europe, I don't know in Germany, but I'm pretty positive it's the same. It's about the bride and the groom and dancing with your father and giving a speech. In India, it's about booking the biggest venue you can and taking as many pictures as you can with the bride and the groom. It was draining, draining to the least. But one thing that it felt very similar, and then I'm going to shush, and then you can tell something about your type of wedding, was one thing that was exactly the same in the two weddings was the amount of dances and noise that we managed to make. like in Italy, my wedding was completely different from the typical Italian wedding. There wasn't like the boring singing and stuff. No, there were dances. I wanted to see people shaking their bum on the dance floor, and that's what we did. And the same was in India. So between photo sets and photo shoots, there were a lot of dances, and Punjabi weddings are the best for dancing. It was, oh my God, my feet were hurting. My mom foot got hurt. His mom foot got hurt for how much we danced. Yeah. Oh, Shushi, tell something about your type of wedding.
No, again, I enjoyed all the weddings as well. Although about the Indian wedding, so in India there's this culture of basically selling your soul for just 3 days of celebration, and by selling your soul I mean spending every penny you have. Just to make a statement there. And again, we enjoyed it, but I was kind of in a disagreement with my parents. I'm like, we're already married. But again, that can also relate to me being more of a simpleton. I'm a very simple guy. I'm a very calm guy. So I don't need these many people.
You wanted to elope.
Huh?
He asked me to elope. He said, let's just go and get married at the town hall and let's forget about all these weddings.
Yes, but again, that's my opinion. So I was kind of in a disagreement there, but then again, at the end, I did enjoy all the weddings, and I was like, money has already been spent. Let's enjoy it at this point.
He was dancing. I never seen. It was my first time seeing him dancing that way. He was doing all the Bhangra moves that he knew, and he was so happy. Like I was really glad that we made it, and my side of the family made the effort. Even some of my bridesmaids, they paid a lot of money to be there with us. And I think at the end it was beautiful for that reason, because we managed to have all the families in one place, and it was really, really fun. Like,
How many
Definitely.
guests did you invite to your Indian wedding compared to the wedding in Italy?
apparently it was a small
We
it was a
were-
small Indian wedding. Apparently
We were mocked because we only invited 300
300 people only.
300 people because the hall was so huge.
The hall was for like 2,000 people.
1,500 people. And I think when my father went to book the hall and they asked, how many guests do you have? And he goes, I have 300, 400 max. And the guy laughed at our face.
It was
He goes, he's like, have you seen the size of our hall? I'm like, yeah, it's for 1,000 people. Are you sure you want to spend all this money?
But it's still like so mind-blowing to me. It's like 400 guests, and I know that Indian weddings are quite big. Like my husband,
I'll tell you that our families were like way louder than all the guests. Like I haven't even seen all the guests if not for the amount of pictures. Because the bride and the groom have to sit there. Sorry, I interrupted you. You have to sit there, and it's really, really draining, like having this flash in your face and these people that keep on coming and taking pictures with you, and they never go and they never end. That's the only time where I realized how many people were there.
and we're just 300 or 400. It could have been much more.
You were saying your husband went to like an Indian wedding?
No. He has co-workers in India, and one of his co-workers got married, and they had 1,200 guests at her wedding. And I'm just like, 1,200, that's a festival.
I'll tell you what the reason for that. So 300 people were from our side. Imagine if the girl was Indian, so 300 people from her side. So there you go, 600 people right there. Could be even more, 500 people from east side. There are 1,000 people.
The way it works in India, anyone that has ever crossed your path, you invite at your wedding. And the thing is, I think it's financially easier because you pay for the venue, and it's kind of like there is a buffet with a minimum of people that you need to pay for. So it's kind of a bit easier. Whereas in Italy, we did have an actual small wedding. We had like 60 people, included my family. So that was like very small compared to Italian people. Italian standards are like 150 people, because you invite like the extended family as well, but definitely not everyone that you met in your life, but kind of like the extended family and your schoolmates and people that you knew back then. But yeah, it was really small, and I liked it that it was like I wanted purposely to have it small, knowing what was gonna happen in India and how insane was gonna be in India.
I'm sure you've shared some pictures and videos as well, Andreana, about the two weddings in Italy and in India, and to get a comparison about the vibe, about the size, about the dresses, because I feel like both cultures are quite colorful. I love Italy, so me personally, I just love the way Italians are, like being very outspoken, being very bubbly, like you, Andreana, if I may say it like this. Like just being very loud and just like sharing the opinion and just being family oriented. And it's just very interesting to see, Gazal, that there are a lot of things your cultures have in common. Because I would have thought as a European, but coming from Germany, that the cultural differences are quite big. But now I'm learning that it's actually not the case.
I struggled more in Germany. So first of all, I work for a German company, and sometimes they don't get my jokes. And I studied in Münster, so very up north in Germany. And let me tell you, I had struggled more in Münster in getting acquainted with the life than I did in India. Like in India, it's like a little Napoli for me. I'm from Napoli, like the south of Italy. So it's literally the same. Like I can't see the difference. Like other than traffic, they're a bit more anarchic in India. And in Italy, they're scared of the cameras now, so they stop. They're chilling a bit with the traffic. It's obviously insane for me as well, but I felt way more similar to him than anyone that I generally met over here.
Well, there's a reason why all those memes are up, no? India is not for beginners.
Yeah, and here we go, like 3 years later. No, actually more. 4 years later.
Yeah.
Almost 5, living in the UK. You've managed to close the distance, obviously. I slowly want to come to an end with this podcast episode. I would love to talk in depth about so much more, especially about different cultures that are very similar. But again, I feel like once everyone who's listening and watching is checking out Andreana's Instagram, you get an idea of their love story, of the colors. I just love, Andreana, how much you've integrated, at least this is how it looks like, into the Indian culture, and how much you're cherishing the culture in general, up to the point where you fully got accepted into Gazal's family, and up to the point where even you pulled the boss on your side, that she became this protective lioness, and she's like, that's my daughter-in-law you're talking about, like, make your own opinion, you have to get to know her. Like, seeing your journey, how far you've come in just a few years is incredible. And I think it's very heartwarming, despite all the struggles, despite okay, this is not going to work, like Gazal's concerns, which are very valuable because, not valuable, but Gazal's concerns, which are very reasonable, because he had a lot of things going on at that time, and he had a lot of things to figure out for himself, while Andreana was just like, nope, we're gonna make this work. I will work for the both of us to make it work. And it got to a point where this is just like a mix of cultures, of families, of like building a life in the UK. So I'm very curious, what's next for you guys? Are you going to stay in the UK? Are you eventually going to move to Italy? Do you have a plan? Is it just like easygoing, whatever will be, will be? How will your future look like if you could choose?
You want to take that one?
Sure. I'm the planner. Between the two, I'm the planner. Gazal is more, well, how can I describe you? He's more chill about this, and I'm more, I'll plan it for you. Let me do this. But no, yeah, we're pretty easygoing. At the moment, we want to stay in the UK, mainly because we both have a job, a very good job over here. We're happy with that. And moving to either one of our countries probably will be an actual cultural shock, because there are, of course, some differences in the way of living and in the way of thinking. And the people that don't know me in India still have some sort of like feelings when they see us together. But yeah, we're in the process of potentially buying a house and trying to settle down a bit. Who knows? Having kids.
Yes, we have, again, as I said, I think before, we're going with the flow. Let's see what challenges come, and we'll adapt accordingly. So
We do already have like a little baby though. He's sleeping now, but we have a cat. I had a cat, and then he's got to know my cat. And yeah, first they were biting each other, and now they're friends.
no, I wasn't biting. I was the one running, but yes.
So they didn't like each other that much, I know.
Yes. So we have like this little nuclear family with a little kitten, which is like 60 centimeters of a cat
Oh.
per 7 kilos. It's really big cat. And and we live in this little new house. So yeah, let's see. But let's to answer your question, we're going with the flow. We're going with the flow and see where that goes, surprisingly.
Thank you so much for sharing your story and for going in depth on the topic of arranged marriage, for going in depth on family dynamics. I feel like that was very important that we tackled that topic, even though we can't do a super in-depth in just 90 minutes, obviously. But as always, so for everyone who's listening or for everyone who's watching right now, there's a way to get in contact with Andreana. She's very open-minded on Instagram or on social media in general as well. And I'm sure she's happy to whoever has some questions, some follow-up questions, who's in a similar situation, similar cultural background, feel free to contact her. I will link everything in the side note as well as in the video description. And then, with this being said, have a lovely weekend, have a lovely rest of your day. And thanks again for sharing your love story today.
Thank you for having us.
Oh, it was a great experience.
Thank you so much for watching and or for listening to today's episode. I honestly had so much fun talking to Andreana and her husband because the whole dynamic was just very interesting. And I love how much Andreana is investigated in the Indian culture and how she was welcomed by his family. So I would like to take the opportunity to invite you as well to be my podcast guest someday soon. You will find a link below. Also, I would like to do a little advertising here. Usually I do not do that, but I would like to take the opportunity to share with you that I'm planning a workshop on the topic of identity crisis. Identity crisis is top 2 on the topics you constantly ask me about on social media, so on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, private messages, usually a big part of the recordings as well. Therefore, I've decided to take all the information I have, all the experience I gathered, and the experiences of 50 couples into a workshop. So we will sit together, I share my experience, but you also have the chance to connect. And for this, you'll find a link below. It's the first link. Sign in and I'll set you more information as soon as I have more information. But so far I can tell you that it's going to happen end of May, beginning of June. Don't miss out on this opportunity. It's totally free and I would love to meet you. And with this being said, have a lovely morning, afternoon or evening, wherever you are right now. And as always, please take care. Bye.